All right. Thank you so much for your patience and coming back onto the MamaMagic page, MamaMagic SA, and we love all things MamaMagic. I think what I love most personally about MamaMagic is the fact that they're all about empowering people. And that's absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for joining us. So excited. And today we're speaking to Ped Rico, so Dr. Rico, an incredible human being and also very passionate doctor. I'm a mother of two. I have a 3-year-old son who you'll be seeing in the background and a 13-month-old daughter. So for me, these topics are very relevant and very important. And it's paramount that we all feel empowered, right? So I'm going to try, and apologies again, serious apologies. We had technical issues earlier on. So I'm going to try Adam. I know he had a bit of an issue from a visual perspective. But let's see what we can do. Ready, they're ready.
No, I'm Catboy.
Are you Catboy? PJMS, and that's my son in the background, of course. Let's see. But in the meantime, also, if you guys have any questions, obviously not medical. I'm not a medical doctor, but we can interact in general. I'm just trying to add him in, and I think he's been having serious technical issues, and look, that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to all things technology. Otherwise, I think we're going to have to do this somewhat later. Let's see. Anyway, so hello everyone. I can see Warren's back online again. Hello, Warren. Hello, so I'm going to say hello, Lungo, Jess. Who else can I see? I think it's Susan. Obviously, some of these are being shortened. Dash, Shandy, Bruce, hello. Cindy, hello. Como, I think it is, hello. I love Cheerfully Grey. I'm loving these handles. Fantastic. Hello. We're just waiting for Dr. Rico to come back online. And as I was saying earlier on, we are living in very interesting times. And someone just needs to feel empowered and just sure that we're making the right decisions. I know as a parent, I'm somewhat uncertain about the future, particularly this year. My kid's going to go to school. What's going to happen? When are they going to school? And if they are allowed to go to school, is it the right time? Because, of course, their health and safety always comes first. So, yeah, and I'm a typical pedantic mom who's just always skeptical about anything when it comes to my kids. So this, for me, is going to be a really empowering chat. So I'm going to try Adam one more time. See if he's online. Okay, no, he's still not online yet. But I'm wondering if I can add Warren. Just waiting for Warren to come through. And thank you so much for tuning in once again. Warren, how are you?
So I somehow knew you were going to do this to me.
I'm glad you did. You almost have an afro now.
So that's why I took like an extra minute because I was like, oh my gosh, is my hair even ready for this?
It looks incredible. Listen, it looks incredible. Who knew?
Who
And
knew?
why are you hiding your hair? It's like, you have I thought maybe you're bald somewhere. And I was like, oh, shame.
No, so I think it's kind of like I look like I'm going younger. I think that's my feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like the last time when I was in varsity, I had dreads. So I thought maybe I'll go back to a younger look. I had a birthday during lockdown, so I thought, hey, why not flip it around?
Right? And you look like you're in tertiary. Sure. It's a good look. Are you well, though?
I'm well. Thank you for doing this. I know we're having lots of challenges.
Yes.
And it seems like the doctor might not be able to join us right now.
Sure.
So I'm glad you do this because I thought maybe let's flip it around because the last time you and I tried to chat, we weren't able to.
Absolutely.
So let's just tell our audience a little bit about who Nandi is.
Yes,
I mean, you gave us a brief introduction in the first session, but now this is our second session.
Yes.
So just go back to, again, telling people about who you are, and
Yes.
if you've got a few minutes, let's do that.
Absolutely. That is fantastic. Let's have a good time. So, what's up, all the beautiful followers of Mama Magic? I'm such a huge fan, and I'll tell you why. Besides that, I'm a media personality, so television personality, and I do music, and I'm a businesswoman. Most importantly, besides being a wife as well, is I am a mother. I'm a mother of two, and only two for the rest of my life. God hears me, as I said earlier.
I feel the same
Uh,
way.
I know, absolutely. Oh, sorry for that. Absolutely. I have a pigeon pair, and I think God heard my prayers because I'm good. I thought I wanted four, and just the way life is, it's a little tricky. So, so my most important role, of course, is being a mother. I love being a mother. Not all days are the same. They're absolutely manic. I've been trying to get somewhat of a schedule and structure, and I want to be completely candid. Some days are great. Other days are horrible. I mean, I know, for example, television is like a no-go zone for kids. But sometimes I'll be really busy and put on YouTube, and my kid becomes that zombie, like 2 hours, 3 hours, and I know better not to do that because I'm busy with something else. Or then other days I'll be really good and he'll be painting or doing his phonics or spelling as a 3-year-old, and I'll be really proud of myself. So I'm a mother like a lot of people. I'm imperfect, I'm learning, I'm human, and especially during these testing times, I'm learning a lot, and I know we all are.
You know, it's so funny because I laugh when you said you wanted four. When we got married, my wife said the exact same thing. She wanted
Yeah.
4 kids, and I looked at her like, whoa, like that's a lot. And I think after my son was born, my son's my oldest. She said like,
Yeah.
okay, there's actually no way. There's no ways we can have 4 kids. I can't do this 4 times. And then we had my daughter 3 years later, and she was like, I'm done. And we settled on the number more than we settled on the fact that we wanted a boy and a girl. But
Absolutely.
the idea was, she just said like, my body can't keep doing this. Like, if you want
No.
another child, can we adopt? So we said, if we ever have a third child, it'll be an adoption. She just felt like it was too much, and then we obviously took the decision to permanently make that decision. So, so that there wasn't anything else. But I agree with you that 2 kids is quite a handful when it comes to parenting, and we've got. You see what I mean?
Yep, there you go. It's
and
my
we've got
son
friends
now.
who have 4 kids, and I said to them, how do you manage? And they said, and one of our other clients, they've got, I think, 5 or 6 kids. And they said, when you get to number 3, it kind of just it all becomes the same. And I was like, look, I don't know if I can get to number 3. I can't get past number 2 yet.
That's so true. And salute to people like that. I have so much respect for you guys. Okay? That's incredible. Sure. Because, I'm very occupied, to say the least, in the most euphemistic tone. But of course it's great, and we love our blessings. But I mean, something like this year, which has taken a lot of people back, you couldn't have predicted what was going to happen this year. In fact, I was looking forward to speaking to Dr. Rico for that reason. You heard the Minister of Education announcing that grade 7 and grade 12 pupils during May will go back to school. Now, I don't know if I'm a pedantic mother, but that scared me. I don't have a kid in grade 7 or grade 12. But you can just imagine, particularly grade 7, you're still young, you all over each other, you don't wash your hands all the time, and you may not understand what it means to take care of your health and what germs really are, and bacteria and why it's paramount for you to take care of yourself. And those are certain concerns that, just I have in general as a mother, and someone who cares in general. So we are living in times that are somewhat very strange. And even like you were saying the other time, trying to entertain your kids or learning your kids again or relearning them or whatever the case may be. I don't want to lie, I have been enjoying being around my son and understanding him more, although to be honest, he's only 3, so nothing's really changed. He's not really going to school per se. He just goes to school here and there, but it's nothing that serious yet. But just certain habits that I've tried to instill in him and how difficult it is. Like when I say let's do phonics, he's like,
It doesn't get easier. I've got a 6-year-old at home.
Okay.
And, you know, there's a lot more of a vigorous routine, and it's quite intense, you know, and I have that same feeling. And my wife and I had this conversation this morning about kids going back to school, because this idea that what will we, as my son yesterday honestly had a bit of a meltdown. He just
Yeah.
couldn't do schoolwork anymore. He
Yeah.
needed to speak to his friends. So we had to arrange a video call with all his friends, and just to make him
Yeah.
feel better, and take a break from school. But it's difficult to be a parent and a teacher. And then when you
Absolutely.
send these kids back to school, you know, a matriculant, you know, should have the self-control to wear the mask and wash their hands and, you know, take precautions. But at grade 7, you know, my mask is cooler than yours, and all these
Yeah.
other things.
Yeah.
And I just worry
And
about these
swapping
kind of things.
masks. Absolutely.
It was crazy. I saw on Twitter this morning, you know, she said that one lady on Twitter said that I'm not Job from the Bible. I don't want to be tested like this. And I completely understood that. And I was just like, that is the truth. Am I prepared to send my 3-year-old even back to school later this year? Or just let them continue again next year? Because it's a really difficult situation we find ourselves now in as parents.
Absolutely. And also, when they make the call that say it's safe enough, you know, for people to go back and for us to live our lives normally, is the disease fully gone? Is there no one else infected? How do we know? How do we administer that? And I know my sister was just saying, who of course is a medical doctor, like I was telling everyone earlier on, is you see patients who literally have flu symptoms and they're okay, and the next day they're in ICU, and that's the biggest thing that's like messing up a lot of the doctors as to just how people react to this virus. But as well as I've been impressed by how South Africans have reacted. I do want to say that, I mean, I've got a lot of friends, for example, in America, and I saw a lot of my friends, especially in Los Angeles, walking around everywhere, and I was like, are you guys not number one? Well, New Yorkers, but just as a country, are you guys? And they're like, yeah, you know. And we obviously, for them, business is more important than people's lives. And I think we are in a fortunate situation where there is somewhat a responsibility to ensure that everyone is in good health, to protect everyone, and that is at the forefront more than ensuring that obviously business comes first. It is hard on everyone. We're all trying to find ways to ensure we stay afloat. And obviously we're aware of that. It's tough times for everyone in general. But your life obviously does come first. So shout out also to, you know, I'm always critical, well, not always, but a lot of the time I can be critical of the government, but I think it's important to be balanced. And comparing to a lot of other countries, shout out to the Minister of Health. You want, oh, my daughter had a farm. Do you also want to say hello to everyone? Do you want, oh, my daughter had a farm? Oh, you want, oh, my daughter had a farm?
I hope it's safe. Oh my goodness. You see, this is the meltdowns we talk about, right? The priorities of life.
And it's so serious. If I don't have, oh, my donald had a farm. I don't know.
I know.
But as I was saying, you know, really that I've been impressed, particularly with our minister so far, with the way he's reacted to the crisis. And I think that's a testament to them and the work they are doing. Of course, there are always flaws in any government, but that is something I actually was surprised by, to be honest, pleasantly surprised.
Nandi, I want to know, you know, you stand for so many different things, and you know, you've always been this woman that stood out so far above your peers for your core values and your models. Now, maybe for the people who don't know you, just maybe give us an idea in terms of what's close to Nandi's heart, and what are those core principles that you believe in, that you're trying to, and one day will pass down onto your kids.
Oh, I think for me, number one is authenticity is always key. And also just valuing your core principles. And I'll tell you why. We live in a world that always somewhat emphasizes on materials and success, but never wants mental health, and also just being a good person. You know, we don't put weight on that. So you can be a really horrible human being and because you're successful and because you're moneyed, we somewhat value you. And I think, you know, we need to change that narrative. And it's situations like this that are reminding us truly what the human value is, and us as humanity, what really matters, you know, because when you have money or not, or you're successful or not, we're all in the same situation. There are a lot of people who, from a tangible perspective, are in a better situation, but mentally aren't, and are not coping in the situation because they've never dug deep in what really matters. You've got a lot of narcissists, for example, who are successful, and you see that around the world, and some even presidents that you see around the world, with the place that I was mentioning.
Yes.
Yeah, and as successful as they are, truly their core values are not aligned with what is natural, what is right. And so that's what I stand for more than anything. I always say one day when I pass on, my legacy, really what I'd love my legacy to be is for people just to say she was a great human being.
Wow.
It would be beyond the accolades. Yes, that's great. But for people just to say, wow, you know, she made me feel good, you know, and that for me is key. And especially even for my own mental health, to know that I can sleep every day at night knowing I didn't screw anyone over. I was a good human being. That is what sincerely matters. I was, you know this, I grew up, my dad did rather well for himself. And I got to grow up in Durban North, La Lucia. And I think the good thing about that is I saw how frivolous money is and how it means nothing. You can be a horrible human being and so lonely, no matter how much money you have. So in fact, it can be a really ugly thing. And I always say the biggest karma is when you are successful and you have lots of money, but you're really miserable. That's a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. You know, over the last few years, I've learned that the power of exposure is so important for our kids. You know, we've got to be able to learn about the global world and society, and being able to learn different languages is beautiful. And having access to so many different things, it's great. You know, and my kids are really blessed that they lack for nothing. But what we find challenging as parents is to draw that line sometimes between over providing for your child and spoiling them versus just providing them with opportunities that you didn't have growing up. And it's kind of finding that line. And I think what it comes down to is that you've got to make sure, well, we've discovered, we've got to just kind of ensure that they understand gratitude and they understand appreciation for what they have. How do you find, how do you kind of find that balance in teaching? I mean, it's a 3-year-old, but I'm sure you've had these ideas pass through your mind before about, you know, what kind of world is he going to grow up into? What's his going to be expectation versus what the rest of society and the country is going through?
Oh yeah, absolutely. First of all, like you said, gratitude is key, because also can lead to depression. If you don't instill gratitude, you can end up never seeing your blessings, and that always leads to depression. So that's also very key, what you said. But in terms of myself, you know, for my son, from a practical perspective, because he's 3 years old, we have a naughty box. So he has all his toys. And if he's messing up, he puts one of his favorite toys in that box, and he doesn't have it for the month.
I love that.
And that's just for him to see that, okay, this was not right, and for him to be grateful about his toys. But also, we do also give to certain people who may not have as many toys as he does if he's not using them. That's also very key to us, as well as for him understanding his social, just the social dynamics in the country. And that's obviously easier for us, but although he's not aware of it at 3 years old, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I remember my husband saying he grew up in a 2-room home, you know, in KwaMashu, which is a location in Durban, as you know, and he said that was one of the happiest days of his life. Like, he thought it was normal to share a chicken thigh, you know, and like, okay, cool. But he says, honestly, some of the best times of his life was in that 2-room home. And I think that's so important. And I always have that in my head, that as long as you're instilling core values, it's not necessarily about the things you splurge on your kids, but having time. And also, kids love time, and you listening to them. Time is the commodity. That is the most important commodity for kids. They just want your time, and they want you to
Absolutely.
listen, and that eye contact. So to know that you're available, you're ready to listen to them, you have time for them.
I think what's been so beautiful about lockdown as a parent is that it's taught us to focus time back to our kids. It's forced us to remember that money doesn't bring the happiness, because the happiness that really makes the kid is your attention and your time, and they want that undivided. No cell phone in hand while you're kind of building the puzzle with me. They want you and you completely. So whether it's just kind of, we're going to go kick a ball outside or jump on the trampoline or just draw a picture together, they just want your time undivided. Now, I mean, let's just, you were talking earlier about some of your parenting scares, earlier before you're waiting for the doctor to join, and then I joined. But what are some of your fears before you became a parent? What is your pregnancy journey like?
Sure. So for me, it's just the unknown. I feel like I somewhat suffer from anxiety anywhere, although I have ways of like reducing my anxiety. It was just the unknown, and also just how's this human being going to be? How are they going to look? As in, like, it's just like all these questions. How are they genetically? Because I have good genetics, bad genetics. Will they inherit? Like, what are they going to inherit? How are they going to be in terms of their character? And then also the biggest thing was my body changing as well. And I'm going to sound completely shallow, but I'm being honest. I could say, well, I was just waiting for my son and I was just concerned that he is healthy. But it was also very shallow things as well. And I think a lot of moms can relate to me, as in my body's completely changed. I'm sweating a lot, or because of hormones or estrogen, your complexion changes at times. You don't look the same. Your nose is even bigger than usual. Just certain things like that. And when it happens to you, you have to remind yourself that you're bringing something so important, and that's new life onto this earth. I was also just worried that I wasn't prepared enough. And I feel like you can never feel prepared. I don't know. There's second kid, she also came at her own time.
Easier.
Second kid, you just like, we'll just wing it. Yeah. Even now, it's like the first kid, you want to make sure, and then you look at all the blogs, and you don't feel prepared enough because now you're comparing and you're like, oh my goodness, is the nursery right? I don't have this, I need that. So you buy all these unnecessary things that you don't need. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So much money is wasted on things that you don't need at all. So what I wish I had done is listen to my mother, or also listen to an expert, because they would tell you, you're not going to need that. And you just like, no, but this is my kid, So I learned a lot just to stay calm and take each day as it comes while I was pregnant. And of course, being healthy, which is key, and exercising, which is also key, but not being too hard on yourself. And then post-partum, especially with my son, I was so overwhelmed because I remember even his navel, his belly button, when the umbilical cord was coming out, he like bled a little bit, literally nothing, like that, like a spot. And I was like, oh my God, he's dying. That's it.
Wow.
No, first-time parents. Unfortunately, we were here in Johannesburg, and all my family's in Durban because I'm from Durban originally. And it was little things like that, because you know how fragile they are those first couple of weeks. And every day I thought he was dying. Like the way he'd be breathing, because that inconsistent breathing, it's, medical doctors know the medical term. But just that even scared me, as in, why is he not breathing? Why is there no pattern to his breathing? Is he okay? So just not being sure. A lot of, I don't like Google, the medical Google, and my parents helped a lot. But I have to say, shout out to nurses as well. Mm-hmm. My sister made me realize something. So of course, if it's not a pediatrician, because pediatricians know, but when it comes to like day-to-day, midwives and nurses are really helpful as well. I have an incredible pediatrician, absolutely, who works, funny enough, with Dr. Rico, Dr. Hay. She's incredible. But she even said the same thing, and that's why I love her, because she's so humble to say that midwives are incredible. You know those day-to-day little things, because when you go to the doctor, it's usually because your kid is severely sick, but you sometimes need advice just for your day-to-day. And so
Yeah.
I find that helpful as well as a first-time mom.
I loved all the stuff that you're saying. Another one thing my wife was very fearful of because my mom had said it was that her shoe size, my mom's said her feet had grown during pregnancy. And my wife has got really, really small feet.
Yeah.
But so she was kind of like anticipating this, but at the same time, I was really nervous that if her shoe size grows, does it mean she's going to buy all new shoes again? Are we going to start that wardrobe again? Thankfully, it didn't.
Yeah.
But then, in during pregnancy, I think the one thing we found that was so beautiful was the use of midwives and doulas. They became a real tangible point and a contact point at any point, because your OBGYN is brilliant and they're good at what they do, but they're not always as contactable and as user-friendly, really. So if you can get yourself, if you are expecting, get yourself a doula or midwife. I mean, we've had a few lives with them already, and they are just great and so practical. From dad's perspective to mom's perspective, and it's been really, really great. But something else I just want to find out for you before we wrap it up. I know the doctor's going to be joining us later this afternoon, I've been told.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to that. But I mean, just tell South Africans in terms of parenting overall, how's it changed your life and what's it done to your home?
Sure. Parenting, how has it changed my life? It's brought, strangely enough, peace. And
I love
just
that.
knowing you know what I'm saying? And knowing what really matters and what doesn't. I don't know what I was doing before as a parent, and I don't know what I was worrying about before as a parent. But a great sense of peace and calm, and knowing what really, this honestly matters in life. And I think that is so important. And just be more focused as well. There's a good focus. You have like everyone says, a sense of purpose, and you really do. I don't have time to be frivolous or shallow. They just, also from a practical perspective, there isn't time, but also you're leaving a legacy, and your kids are your legacy. They're part of your legacy. So it just shifts, you knowing the route you want to go, or at least you should feel that way. Your journey changes, you have more focus, just a sense of belonging as well. You look forward to coming home because you're going to see these little people. And all those, so it's that fuzzy feeling you get. It's not perfect, but it's your tribe. You now finally have a tribe. And that's incredible, right? That's an incredible feeling. That you go into your tribe. So for me, a sense of belonging, peace and purpose, definitely.
Nandi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We've kind of done this. We've just flipped this around, but Dr. Rico is back this afternoon. So we've got that interview again this afternoon. But thank you so much just for chatting to me. I must be honest, whether I'm in a room with you or just connecting with you like this, you have a way of just kind of bringing this light and this joy through.
Thank you.
And I can see from your kids, and I mean, you can see by your husband, it looks like it's happening there in your household.
It is.
It looks like it's fun. And it looks like you guys are entertaining each other. And you're kind of just preparing for the next few weeks, and you're prepared to go stronger. So keep going at it.
Thank you.
Stay safe. We will be announcing, I see there's a time from Leaflet, but what time, we'll confirm the time with you that we'll be posting up shortly in our stories about what time Dr. Rico will be available. But it'll be sometime this afternoon. I know that he's got some patience that he's going to squeeze us in between. But thank you. I think more than anything else, besides just being, the face of beauty and this personality that you are to South Africans, I think what we touched on today is just we got to understand a bit more behind all that, as that's you as a parent, you as a wife. And thank you so much for sharing that part of your life with us today. And this wasn't my interview, so I don't know why I took over. I'm sorry.
This is incredible. Thank you so much for also being alive. This was incredible. And big up to you guys at MamaMagic for doing such a great job. We love you all.
Thank you so much, Nandi. We'll speak again soon.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao to your followers. Bye.